Hello, Augies worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio callsign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. Today is an example of a rather lengthy chat on 40 meters HF with another YouTuber by the name of Kevin. He goes by The Old Tech Guy, KB9RLW, and at the bottom of the screen you can see a link to his channel. Great guy, lives in an RV, and this is basically his full-time job, his YouTube channel, and a very interesting and affable guy. I enjoy his channel, and thought you would too. So he suggested that we have contact on the air, a QSO, on HF, on 40 meters. So I'm using my vertical and my Yaesu FTDX 3000 and this headset. Now, the audio of me is what this microphone picks up, not the microphone from the camera. So it's going to be a little different from the way you're used to hearing me. It's got the microphone plus all the audio processing that is done in the radio, which tends to emphasize the highs so that it will get through the noise a little bit better. Now, there are some times in the QSO where it's quite noisy and it's hard to hear Kevin, but bear with me because it does come through. About halfway through the QSO, I turned on a feature of the FTDX 3000, the noise reduction. I had it only turned up to a 3. I turned it up to like a 10 or something like that, and it really did help quite a bit. So we're just kind of rambling, talking to each other, but this gives you a real good idea of the kinds of things that can happen on HF. Let's go to the QSO, which took place on the 13th of June, just a few days ago. And his call again is KB9RLW, portable 7, because he is in Arizona right now. I presume enjoying the heat. He said it was over 100 where he is. So, let's do it.
Is this frequency in use?
This is KB9RLW, portable 7, standing by for a skip.
KB9RLW, here's KE0OG. How are you today?
Well, I'm a little nervous, getting everything ready, you know. I've got about 5 or 6 recording devices to turn on and then hit record on when we're ready to go.
Why so many?
Oh, different angles, and backup, and be recording the audio from 3 sources, and lab mic to minimize interference from the air conditioner. The radio will be recording direct to SD card. And got 3 cameras, one on my face, one on an overview, and one on the face of the radio. So, gonna have a whole lot of work to do editing on this.
Oh boy, sounds like it. I've got 1 camera, and just pointed at me. You've got a good idea. I should have had a camera pointing at the screen. And I'm running the audio through a mixer from your old haunt there at Sweetwater. Got a 12-channel mixer here, and it's feeding. I'm actually using it as a distribution amp because it's feeding the recorder and feeding the headphones at the same time.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I used to have an Allen G 14-channel mixer. I wanted one of the parties. Yeah, that's a great place to be a customer. I recommend that place to anybody to buy gear from. As far as working there, though, it's just another big company with all the normal corporate BS going on behind the scenes. But it's a great place to be a customer. Nobody treats you better. That's why they're growing so fast.
Well, they seem to be. When I bought some trivial little item from them, and suddenly I was getting phone calls and messages and so on and so forth, and all I wanted to say was I got what I wanted. But I did have to spend some time discussing with the guy exactly what cables I would need for this mixer, because the mixer main out are 2 mono 1/4-inch jacks, and the Tascam is a stereo 1/8-inch in. So they got me all set up.
Oh yeah, yeah. They only hire people that are experienced in the industry. They don't hire people that don't know what they're doing. So you definitely get a good deal there. But like I say, that's why they're growing the way they are. It's the customer service is their focus. All right. Well, you're about S9 for me, a solid S9. I'm putting. So I'm hoping you're hearing me a little better today. Over.
Yeah, I've got my amp on, so I'm doing about 500 watts. There's a lot of local static crash. We've got some thunderstorms in the area, and the wind is blowing like crazy. So hopefully we can keep going. If I hear thunder, we'll have to wrap it up real quick. But I've got all the lightning arresters in place, but of course they won't do much in the event of a direct strike.
No, they wouldn't. But you can hear the crashes myself. They're not too bad. We're about 10 over 9 now, actually. So I think we'll probably do okay. I'm shooting for maybe about a half an hour. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the chat goes. It's kind of informal. We'll just sort of talk to each other about our YouTube channels or our experience there or whatever. However you want. We'll just see how it goes. So if you want to get another camera pointed at the radio, I can wait.
Oh, the best camera to point at the radio would be the little GoPro, but I had one of those Joby tripods, and it doesn't work anymore, so I'd have to stack some books in front of it or something. I think I'll go without it. I've got the camera, and I can take some stills after we're done and thread those in there. So, yeah, I'd be happy we could both chat about our channels. I know I've got a couple questions for you, just that I gleaned from your QRZ page. But go ahead. I'm actually recording now.
Okay, well, give me about 30 or 40 seconds to get everything going here, and then I will call you, and we'll start. So hang on. KB9RLW, Portable 7.
KE0OG listening.
KE0OG. KE0OG. Here is Kilo Bravo 9er Romeo Lima Whiskey, Portable 7. How copy, Dave?
Hello there, Kevin. KB9RLW. Here's KE0OG. You're booming in now. Nice 5.9 signal here on 7150 kilohertz. Down at the bottom of the 40-meter band. Back to you.
Yes, sir. Well, I figured in the extra class, Eric, we'd probably have a better chance of getting through this without too many interruptions. So, hey, it's nice to talk to you again, Dave, and here over the air. It's great talking to another YouTuber. I really enjoy that. And I've been looking through your channel, looking back at the history of that, and I've discovered that your channel is very much like mine in that a lot of the early videos are just family stuff. And whatever interested you, and then all of a sudden, somewhere around April of 2012, no, I'm sorry, it was, when was it? It was October, I think, of 2011, you did a technician class series, where you covered each of the sections of the technician license, and did video tutorials, and I was curious, what prompted you to move your video channel in that direction?
Well, what happened to me was I fell into the ham radio part by accident. The original videos were a lot of videos where I had a helmet camera, the GoPro helmet camera, on my while I was doing some dirt biking on my little Yamaha around the area here. This is a dirt bike rider's paradise around here. And I didn't get many hits. I'd be lucky if I got 100 views on a video. And then my church asked me if I would teach ham radio classes just as part of sort of disaster preparedness kind of stuff. And where we live here on the western slope of Colorado is very sparsely populated. And I only had 4 people in the class, all of whom passed and got their licenses. But I thought maybe to cover a broader area, rather than drive around and give classes in different areas, I would put a video up on YouTube that would introduce the section in the ARRL book. Then people could read the ARRL book and study the questions. And that would be sort of a halfway point between in-person class and total self-study. And I didn't get much uptake locally, but I started getting emails from people all over the country saying, hey, you're doing a good job, keep going. And they talked me into doing a general class, and so I did that. And then did Amateur Extra, which actually took me a couple years. About halfway through the general series, I decided I've got to do something about my production values. So I started getting some equipment, and the rest, as they say, is history. People liked the ham radio videos far more than the motorcycle videos, so I stopped doing those. So that's a long-winded answer to your question, but that's how I got into it. Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. It's kind of what I gathered, and I noticed that while you were doing the general class, a few other ham radio-related videos started popping up, and you were still doing some camping and motorcycle stuff even when you were doing the extra class section, but more and more ham radio-related videos and things were popping up. And then I think it was June of 2015, you did your first Ask Dave video. And that's when it all seemed to really turn over to ham radio for your channel. A lot of review videos started popping up, other radio videos. And the OG brand seems to have really taken off around 2017, and then here we are today. So, yeah, pretty similar for mine, I think. Mostly family stuff at first. And somewhere along the line, I think I was looking for work. And a friend of mine who's now ham, Rick, I forget he got his father's call. It used to be KB9HQM. In fact, you see him in one of my videos as a new ham first HF contact. But now he's got his father's call, and I don't have it in front of me. I can't remember it yet. But he said, you've got this YouTube channel. You ought to use your skills and start making tutorial videos and see if you can make something out of that. And I started, like you did, just a few here and there. Viewership started to uptick in subscribers, and people started really showing up and liking it and wanting me to do more, and it just grew and grew. But like you, I look back at some of my early videos, and I'm kind of ashamed at the production value. I leave them up because they're good tutorials and still get lots of views. But certainly it's a lot different than what I'm doing today. KB0OG from KB9RLW, Portable 7, back to you.
KB9RLW, KE0OG. Oh my goodness, the static crashes here are just phenomenal. The QRN is just almost S7 to S9. Normally this is a pretty quiet location, but not when the thunderstorms are going by. Well, it sounds like you did about the same thing there, and now I was kind of curious about something. You're living full-time in the RV, and you're doing some occasional videos about the RV. I'm just kind of curious how you ended up in the oh my goodness, I got something going on here. Oh, let's try that now. It was giving me an indication of high SWR. Using a vertical, it should be doing pretty well. There we go. Back up to a decent amount of power. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about the transition to full-time RVing. We have a trailer, a travel trailer, that we've taken to Dayton, and I'm going to be taking over to, well, I took to Quartz Fest, and now we're going to take it to Reno. Just curious how you ended up in the RV lifestyle. Go ahead.
Well, last year, after almost 3 years of unsuccessfully trying to find work in Fort Wayne, I had the idea to take the YouTube show on the road. My son had grown up and moved out a couple of years prior, and it was just me in the house, and the house needed work. It's an old house. It was built in the 1920s, and I was not in a position anymore financially to keep the house up. I was able to keep the house, but not upkeep the house, and so I thought, well, I can do this YouTube thing from anywhere, and I could escape the Midwest winters, which I've had all my life. I grew up in Michigan, and I went to Fort Wayne, Indiana to go to school, and was there for the last 33 years. So I thought, well, I'll just make the leap. Not finding work in Fort Wayne, maybe I can find work elsewhere, and along the way I can keep doing what I'm doing. So I I sold the house, and then I had an arrangement with a new buyer to give me a couple of months, and then I went out and found an RV, and in 2 months I found and fixed up the RV, built it out, emptied out the house, and it was a stressful couple of months, but then I drove out of Fort Wayne in mid-October of last year, and I guess I've been on the road now for over 7 months, so time sure goes fast. A few of my videos. There's one called Death Tour that a guest had. It's a good look at the radio desk, which you'll be able to see in this video. I've got a wide shot where you can see me picking it like that. It's got the radios, it's got all my tent gear, and antenna switching and a lot of extra space. I've got basically a full electronic workbench and radio desk in the space that the dinette used to occupy in the RV.
Well, it sounds like you made some good decisions there. I'm having trouble copying you. I'm trying to find the setting here for the noise filter and see if I can't crank it up a little bit more. Give me a second to locate that. Hang on.
Okay, well, I pushed the power all the way up. I'm at a full 100 now. I've got my backup power supply in so I can run the 100 watts. So hopefully that'll help a little bit. Over.
Yeah, it does. Let me just see, 57. Digital noise reduction. 110. It's number 110. So let's go down here to 110. And this thing's got more menu settings than you can shake a stick at. DNR level is only 3. I'm going to crank that up quite a bit. Select. Whoops. All right. Oh, come on. Hard to do. There we go. Select. Okay, maybe this will be a little bit better. Sounds like an interesting saga in the RV. Is it a camper, a travel trailer, fifth wheel? What have you got there?
No, it's a Class C RV. It's a 31-footer. It's a big one. Built on a Ford truck chassis with a big Triton V10 engine. So it's quite a big beast. Kind of heavy, but it's home, so I wanted room. And the gas, the fuel costs make travel a little prohibitive. I can't just drive and drive. I have to sit and replenish the bank account. It's getting hot here in Kingman, and I'm planning on heading to Flagstaff. I wanted to originally go back across the country, back to Fort Wayne for the summer, but it'd be well over $1,000 in fuel costs to drive back there. So I'm not going to do it. Not this year, anyway. Yeah, it's a big Class C. And so far it's been fine. Everything's working. It's old. It's a 2002 and it was a rental, so I had to do quite a bit of repair work. And there's some damage in the wood on the walls. I was just actually outside and noticed that I got a piece of trim popping loose because the wood underneath where the back of the refrigerator is not much wood left. There's the vinyl. So yeah, I'm constantly working on it, but so far it's holding up and all the systems are working. So we're good. Hey, something that a lot of my viewers might not be aware of that I was surprised to find is that prior to your success on YouTube with your ham radio stuff, you are a self-published author of young adult fantasy and science fiction books. Kind of a surprise to discover. Obviously, now at your website, I'll talk about it. I just said KE0OG from KB9RLW Portable 7.
KB9RLW Portable 7, here's KE0OG. I cranked up the digital noise reduction and it really helped. It was only at level 3 and it goes up to level 12. That really helped with the issues of the static crashing. Yeah, my original plan, you know how plans go. They're what you're doing while real life plays out, was to write some young adult books and build up a readership and do that in retirement. I enjoy writing. I've always enjoyed writing. But the sales figures don't support that. So, you know, I've got a few local fans who really like my work, but, you know, after those 12 have bought copies of my books, there's nothing left. Figured out finally how to use Amazon's Create Space, and so it doesn't actually cost me anything, any capital to publish a book, but there just readership isn't there, and I'm not a very good marketer, so I decided, you know, I could spend a year writing a book, or I could spend a week doing a video. The video would get several thousand views, and the book might get several tens of views or something like that. So I've kind of set it aside. I'm just not doing it anymore. Spend so much time doing the videos. As you well know, it takes 3 days to put a 20-minute video together. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. People don't realize how much work is involved. Even on the simple videos, I'll have 12 to 15 pieces of media that I gather and shoot and all that put together. You know, and then every little piece takes work. You know, you don't just point a phone at something and talk and you're done. As you know. I record all the audio separately. I split audio out from video and edit it separately and reduce noise and adjust levels and, you know, so every piece of media takes work, plus the graphics, and then putting it all together with the editing. Yeah, you can easily spend 2 to 3 days on a single video, and that's not even counting the work involved in the project, if it's a project you're doing a video on. Doing the 40-meter folded dipole that I'm talking to you on now. I had about 3 days of design work, 3D printing, and just physical wiring and labor, getting the antenna and parts and pieces all together, and then all the work, putting it up and scanning it and recording all the media when I scanned it, and all the readings from the VNA and everything, all those graphics, bringing them all together and naming them, and you get all that pre-work that you do, and then finally you sit down at the editor, and the editing might only take about 4 or 5 hours. So yeah, it is a lot of work. And then you go and you look at YouTube and you see, I've had 4,000 views and it turned me to 12 cents. So yeah, it's not a very high-paying job. It's more a labor of passion than it is anything else. But so far, I'm doing okay. big part of that is Patreon, which I see you're also on that. And I tell you, I really can't appreciate enough the people that support us on Patreon. I'm a little humbled by them. That they like what we're doing well enough to throw a few bucks our way every month. And boy, without those guys, I would not be able to survive. So I think my YouTube revenue still sits around $350 a month, which certainly would not be enough to live on. But yeah, like you say, it is a lot of work.
Yeah, when I was doing the books, is when I got hooked up with PayPal so people could buy them online. It's all there. I haven't sold a book in ages, but already having an account with PayPal, I set up a tip jar, and people can just go on and they can buy a tip. It's $1, and they can buy as many as they want. And I get several of those a month, and usually they're $10 or $20, sometimes more, sometimes less. Like you say, that and Patreon, and then the ad revenue from Google has come together to be a nice little retirement supplement for me. I tried not to become dependent on it, but I think I have. Whenever you get a little extra money in your pocket, you start going, boy, I sure enjoy this, and things start adding up. We got our travel trailer. This last one was used. It was one that was on consignment. The prior owners never took it out. They had a change, a lifestyle change. The husband ended up in assisted living. He'd had a stroke and things like that. So when we got it, even though it was technically used, there was still plastic on the mattress and the little pull-off decals on the television and stuff like that. And it seems to be just the right size for us. I don't try really to do ham radio on the road. If I did, I do have a buddy pole. I bought a buddy pole. I wanted to review it so badly, and they never sent me one to review, so I just bought one with the money from the advertising. And, that's kind of the antenna for the trailer right now. But when I'm on the road, like at Dayton, I'm sure a lot of people operated from Dayton. I didn't. The time I wasn't there, I spent with my wife. I've got, when I was down at Quartz Fest, I was trying to test out this octopus antenna that MFJ sent to a bunch of people. And at the time, we had a foot of snow on the ground all winter, so I wasn't able to do anything there. I tried to put it up at Quartz Fest, but it seems that that antenna actually needs two people to put that thing up, because I ended up bending one of the elements badly and all that sort of thing. Finally did get it tested, but I think, MFJ sent it to me in December and wanted it tested then, and I didn't get it tested up until nearly April because of the snow. We had a really snowy winter, about 3 times normal here. I'm rambling. KB9RLW, KE0OG.
Yeah, KE0OG, KB9RLW. I think your amp kicked out again. But I heard you. I was able to copy most everything you said there. You just were kind of down along with the static crashes. Maybe split the difference instead of going for the 4500. Try to push about 3, and maybe it'll hold up. But yeah, I did follow some of that when you were at Quartz Fest. I was lots of fun with it. I really wanted to be there this year. But as you may or may not know, my father was in a bad accident at the beginning of January, and I had to fly home. And he became a silent T. His call was 888-OCL. But that occupied my January, and I missed it. But I will be there this coming January. I'm going to be there. And I'm going to try to find Jerry, and maybe we'll all end up talking in the same vicinity again, and we can all get together. I'd sure like to get a bunch of YouTubers together there for a group photo, or maybe a round table chat or something. I think that would be fun. But Anyway, how's my signal holding up to you? I'm barefoot at 100 watts now, which from the 7300 means I'm probably averaging somewhere around 50 to 60 watts with 100 watt peak. Back over to you.
Okay, well, very good. I am hearing you amidst the static crashes, and since I turned on the digital filter, it's much better. I've got a lot of processing in to the point where it distorts a little bit, but at least I can hear it well. And I think what's happening on the amp, I turned it back on here, is that as the wind blows the antenna around, it doesn't make contact or something for a moment. The SWR goes sky high, and that kicks the amp out. But it's sitting here looking pretty good right now. Are you going to go to the Reno event? Go ahead.
Come again, the Reno event?
Yeah, the Hamfest at Reno is 2 days long on a Saturday and Sunday, and it is, I'm looking for my calendar here, it's like the 19th and 20th of July, and it's held between Reno and the California border at a place called Boomtown, and there's a nice little KOA right there, so I got reservations at the KOA. How's my signal now? Is it holding up?
Oh yeah, KE0OG, KP9RW stroke 7. Sure you.
Yeah, it's holding up there.
And Reno, I don't know. I do not know. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. It's getting too hot for me here in Kingman, and I think I'm having some trouble with the altitude. I've been, over the past 20 years, my health's been declining a bit, and I've got a problem with low blood pressure. And since I've been up here at over 3,000 feet, it's worse. And so I'm I'm going to go a little higher towards Flagstaff to try to get to cooler temperatures, but I don't know how that's going to affect me. And if it gets much worse, then I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and go back to lower altitude. So I don't know where I'll be in July. It's really hard for me to make plans that far out, being that I'm actually living out here on the road and on a limited income. I have to be really careful. I can't just move, and I can't just park at RV parks all the time. I have to mostly boondock, and every couple of weeks I'll go do a couple of nights at an RV park for laundry and a real hot shower, and just a good night's sleep without wondering what that noise was outside the window. So I don't know. I've made a note of it though, and I will look at Reno as I get closer to July, or into that part of July, and see if I'm in a travelable distance to it. And KOA is pretty expensive, but if that's where you're going to be, I can probably go there for a day and do one overnight. So we'll keep it in mind, Dave. We'll see. Maybe. I'll just say maybe at this point. Over.
Okay, very good, understood. Sorry to hear about the trouble with the altitude. Yeah, I've been having some health trouble too. Just diagnosed with COPD, and which is entertaining. That's a smoker's disease, and I've never smoked in my life. So I don't know. Maybe it was because I grew up in 1950s Los Angeles, where the smog was so bad that some nights I'd go to bed with a sore throat and the tears streaming out of my eyes. It was so bad. I don't know. We're at 7,000 feet, and I know what you mean about the expensive RV parks. We did stay in RV parks on our way to Dayton, and we stayed at a KOA while we were there. I ran the numbers on whether it would be cheaper to just drive and stay in hotels, but it turned out to be cheaper to take the trailer and pay the extra for gas. We only get about 10 miles to the gallon when we're pulling that trailer, and I imagine your Class C probably does something similar. But yeah, there's plenty of space to boondock down where you are if you don't mind the heat. It's like the Quartzsite area just totally empties out about March. I know when we were down there for Quartz Fest, they had the big RV show there too, and the place was just jammed. We went to a restaurant there and had to wait an hour, and then once we got to our booth, we had to wait nearly another hour to get waited on. So there were a lot of people there. So is it that much cooler in Flagstaff? I was under the opinion it was pretty warm there too. Go ahead.
Yep, your amp kicked out again about halfway through. Flagstaff is, looking at the weather, has been about 10 to 15 degrees cooler. It's due to the altitude. And I'm actually going to be stopping a bit west of Flagstaff. There is it's a rural volunteer fire department. That's basically the idea of one person, but he has several RVers that show up and hang out and help them fight rural fires, I guess. I found they're a ways west of Flagstaff, out in the desert. So I'm going to go visit them first and see who's there and help them out with some radios. I was talking to the guy today, and they have a pile of radios and repeaters, probably commercial, that were donated, that they don't know what they are and how they work and what to do with them and any of that. So I'm going to help them sort all that out while I'm there and hang out there. And we'll see how I do at 5,000 feet, which is the altitude there. They're about 10 degrees cooler than here. I've been watching the weather. So it'll be far more tolerable. But that'll be my test. If I can handle the altitude there, then I'll head up to Flagstaff and boondock north of Flagstaff maybe for a little while and see if I can get through July. And beyond that, I don't know. So anyway, that's the story there. What else was I going to ask you about? You know, one question that I had is in your background information, it says that you're a retired systems engineer with a satellite background. So I'm curious, did you do some engineering work on commercial satellites or military satellites or something along those lines? Over.
Well, my master's degree is in the electrical engineering with emphasis on satellite communications. Whoops, kicked out again. Try it again. I don't know what's going on with this thing. The SWR on the antenna keeps varying, I think, with the wind. Up there, kicked out again. Let me just turn it back up to 100 watts here, and we'll do it that way. I worked for IBM for a lot of years as a systems engineer. Of course, IBM doesn't do satellite work, but sometimes it does work with let me just get this thing tuned here. Sometimes it does work where, oh man, what's going on? Okay, I guess I'm okay. Because the SWR stays okay, and then suddenly it kicks up. I did a lot of systems work, meaning that I was the guy who worked with the customer to design the product specification, and we'd go through every little detail from human factors to the technical performance requirements to how it was going to be tested and everything like that. And I helped write a lot of proposals. And it was mostly for the government, the Forest Service. I spent a fair amount of time with them, but most of my career has been somehow associated with the DoD. And yeah, I did do some satellite ground systems for Department of Defense, and that was always interesting. Working with the government, you can spend a career trying to get from conception to the specification. They move at the speed of molasses in January. Go ahead.
Okay, I think you turned it back to me there. You were doing pretty good, and then faded a little bit right there at the end. Hopefully you're still copying me. Well, maybe if you dialed the amp back and only drove a couple hundred watts, that would bring your signal up pretty well, and maybe it wouldn't kick out. But anyway, yeah, okay, it was government. That's interesting stuff. That's kind of a cool career, man. It sounds like you had kind of a fun job and maybe a little strange job at some time. So really interesting to know. So we're coming up on a half an hour, Dave. I can't think of anything else that I wanted to ask you offhand. Did you have any further questions for me? KE0OG, KB9RLW, Portable 7.
KB9RLW, KE0OG. Yeah, your QRZ site, you talk about several magnetic antennas, and you show examples of some that you built yourself. And I'm just curious, what you have found works best. I've got several instances of magnetic antennas, but they don't seem to work well for me. It just drives me nuts that I'm tuning it constantly all the time. Boy, I don't know what.
Sure of the beast. They're so thin that if you're going to move around in frequency a lot, you do have to tune them pretty constantly. But that's just the nature of them. I mean, they're as you know, they're extremely narrow. It just takes patience. I use that. I'm going to be doing something where I'm not going to be bouncing around that frequency. So if I'm going to, for example, run PSK31, that's an ideal case where the magnetic loop is fine. If you were running CW, you're probably going to be operating over a pretty small area, so it would be fine there as well. And obviously, if you prefer to just let your computer make the contacts for you, you can run FT8, and then you don't have to tune at all, so it'd be good there. I guess it's more of a purpose antenna than just a general operating antenna. Unless you happen to be an apartment dweller with a balcony and you don't really have many other choices, then you just have to grit your teeth and tune it a lot. But that's why on the one I built, I did the remote tuning with the gear down motor. And I actually brought, I put a little field strength sensor right there in the loop and brought the signals back to the control box so I can use the field strength around the loop to fine tune it. And that made it a lot easier to work with. I found that to be less tedious. If I moved frequency a little bit, I would just tap the message a couple of times ahead of time because I knew I was moving in that direction. Throw out a small carrier and just do the fine tuning and then get back to working or operating. So there really isn't a lot you can do to change that. It's very narrow. Some people make them with really big ones. I think the radio guy, Larry, I think his name's Larry, pipe that he wrapped copper foil around. It's larger in diameter and broadened it out just a little bit, but still pretty narrow. So I don't think you can get away from having to tune them often if you're going to be bouncing around on frequencies. But if you're going to be sitting in one spot, then they're a better, or I would say a more acceptable choice. Over.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I picked up something interesting at Dayton. It's from the guy that does Alex Loop antennas. He had a little indicator that allowed a person to put this on the mag mount antenna and tune by the brightness of the light. And I haven't tried that out yet, but I'm going to give that a try. It's a little accessory he's selling now, and see if that helps, because I know when I've tried the mag mount, one of the problems with the ones I've got is portable. So I've got to sit outside with it, so I've got to have the rig out there. I've got to be there to tune the antenna, and this would make it a lot easier to get the tuning right. So I'll give it a try. Well, I think I'm not sure what's going on with my antenna in terms of the SWR, because it looks good on the meter, but apparently the amp doesn't like it. So I think it's probably a good idea if we sign now, and I'll wish you the very best of luck with your channel, and say 73s. And I'll listen for your final, and then we'll wrap her up.
All right, Dave. Well, hey, thanks very much for taking the time to do this. I've enjoyed talking to you. and I'm pretty sure that the viewers are going to enjoy listening to our conversation. I think it's been a success, even with the few technical problems we've had, and Mother Nature doing her best to get a word in edgewise with all those lightning strikes, as she will do sometimes. So thanks again, 73 to you, and we'll have to talk again sometime. You've got my contact information now. If anytime you want to chat, just give me a ping on the other device, and we can get together. And hopefully, if I don't see you in Reno, we can definitely do a face-to-face in Quartzsite in January. So 73, thanks again, and you have a good rest of your evening. KE0OG from KB9RLW, Portable 7. Bye-bye.
73.
Well, that was a very enjoyable QSO. I appreciate you hanging in there with me to the end. Please click like on the video. Please subscribe. And when you subscribe, click on the bell, and you'll be notified of future videos. I try to put up at least one video during the week, and then we've got the Saturday live stream, which is at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, every Saturday. And with all the what I try and do in that video is answer questions. So, until we next meet, 73.